Welcome to CCN Midday News. I am your host, Catherine and Krishna. Here are some of your top stories for today, April 7th. New York may have to bury coronavirus victims on public lands as death overwhelms the mortuaries. A heated disagreement breaks out in the Situation Room over hydroxychloroquine. By a vote of 5-4, the Supreme Court lets Wisconsin throw out tens of thousands of ballots. A Mississippi governor declares Confederate Heritage Month during the coronavirus pandemic. The wrong man lost his job over the Navy's coronavirus bungling. And Kennedy Townsend and McKean's bodies recovered by the Maryland police. Also, Televangelist Kenneth Copeland blows COVID-19 away using the wind of God. Let's get to the news. New York City was preparing to bury bodies of those who have died from the COVID-19 in temporary plots on public land. The city limits managing the deceased is being pushed to its limits, according to the chair of the New York City's Council for Health Committee. New York City is preparing to bury the bodies of those who have died from the COVID-19 in temporary plots on public land until the city's mortuaries and cemeteries can catch up to the rapidly rising coronavirus death toll. Bill de Blasio said on Monday that if we need to do temporary burials to be able to tie this over to pass the crisis and then work with each family on their appropriate arrangements, we will be able to do that, de Blasio said at a news briefing from Brooklyn's Navy Yard. Obviously, the place we have used historically is Hart's Island. Hart's Island is located in the northeast part of the Bronx borough of New York City. More than 1 million people are buried on the island, according to the city's website. The city says that New York City's public cemetery and the Department of Corrections have managed burials on that island for the past 150 years. Many of those buried on the island remain anonymous with unmarked graves. There was a heated disagreement in the Situation Room this weekend over the efficiency of the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine, but multiple sources say that it was mostly one-sided as President Donald Trump's top advisor, Peter Navarro, feuded with other officials over the drug's unproven effectiveness to treat the coronavirus. The debate is not a new one. Inside the coronavirus task force, medical experts have repeatedly explained to the president that there is a risk in hydroxychloroquine in case the drug doesn't ultimately work to combat the virus. But other aides and outside advisors have sided with Trump, including Navarro, who is still not a formal part of the task force, but wedged himself into the meetings. On Monday, by a vote of 5-4, the U.S. Supreme Court approved one of the most blazing acts of voter suppression in modern history. The court will nullify the votes of citizens who mailed in their ballots late, not because they forgot, but because they did not receive the ballots until after the election date due to the coronavirus. As Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg wrote in dissent that the court's order will result in massive disenfranchisement. The conservative majority claims that its decision would help protect the integrity of the election process. In reality, however, it calls into question the legitimacy of the election itself. Wisconsin has been scheduled to hold an election on April 7th, where there were more than 3,800 seats on the ballot and a crucial state Supreme Court race as well. but the state's ability to conduct in-person voting is impaired by the COVID-19. Thousands of poll workers have dropped out for fear of contracting the virus, forcing cities to shutter dozens of polling places. Milwaukee, for example, consolidated the polling place location from 182 to 5, while Green Bay has consolidated its polling locations from 31 to 2. Governor Tony Evers asked the Republican-controlled legislature to postpone the election, but it refused, so he tried to delay it himself in an executive order on Monday, but the Republican-dominated Supreme Court reinstated the election, hereby forcing voters to choose between protecting their health or exercising their right to vote. In the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, Governor Tate Reeves, Republican, has taken time to declare April a Confederate Heritage Month. The proclamation came 2 days after Reeves changed his position and issued a statewide ordering the shutting down of non-essential businesses and ordering residents to stay home, according to the Jackson Free Press. Reeves' proclamation says that April is the month when, in 1861, the American Civil War began between the Confederate and Union armies, reportedly the costliest and deadliest war ever fought on American soil. In 2016, the Governor Phil Bryant, a Republican, signed a similar proclamation, although that one placed the responsibility of the Civil War squarely on the shoulders of the Confederacy. April is the month when the Confederate States began and ended a 4-year struggle. Reeves' proclamation, as the Jackson Free Press noted, seems to spread the blame around. Reeves faced significant criticism for being slow to issue a stay-at-home order for his state, and when he did so, his order was less strict than what some mayors have already done, allowing churches as well as restaurants with 10 or few people to stay open as essential business, but also took a shot at the liberal judicial system that was shutting down more businesses. In a follow-up order, Reeves closed down restaurants as well, restricting them to drive-thrus and curbside pickup deliveries only. Reeves did not return a request for comment on his Confederate history proclamation. The valiant turned tragic tale of Brett Crozier, the Navy captain who was fired for going outside of the chain of command to save his soldiers from a coronavirus outbreak on an aircraft carrier known as the Theodore Roosevelt, is getting seamier and seamier. On March 31st, Crozier sent a letter to several senior Navy officers asking them to accelerate the evacuation of his ship, which he'd docked in Guam, after dozens of soldiers on board have tested positive for the virus. On Thursday, after the letter was leaked to the San Francisco Chronicle, the acting Secretary of the Navy, Thomas Motley, declared that he'd lost confidence in the captain and was therefore relieving him of his command. 2 days later, a report out of the Washington Post that Motley had told the associates he'd acted at the behest of the President Donald Trump. Police announced on Monday that they have recovered the body of Maeve Kennedy Townsend McKean, who disappeared alongside her son Gideon last Thursday night after they paddled a canoe into the Chesapeake Bay. McKean is the granddaughter of Robert F. Kennedy and the daughter of former Maryland Lieutenant Governor Maeve Kennedy Townsend. After a day-long search that involved aviation and underwater imaging solar technology, authorities recovered missing persons Maeve Kennedy Townsend McKean on April 6 at approximately 5:31 p.m., the Maryland National Resources Police said in a statement. The statement added that a dive and rescue team found McKean's body in a 25 feet of water, approximately 2.5 miles south of her mother's house in Shadyside, Maryland, where she and her son took their canoe out. And in some latest news, televangelist Kenneth Copeland blows the COVID-19 away using the wind of God. Here's a clip.
Wind! Wind! Almighty!
Almighty!
Strong!
Strong!
South wind!
South wind!
Heat!
Heat!
Burn this thing!
Burn this thing!
In the name of Jesus!
In the name of
Satan, you bow your knee!
Satan, you bow your knee.
You fall on your face!
You fall on your face.
COVID-19!
COVID-19.
I blow the wind of God
The wind of God
on you.
on you.
You are destroyed forever,
You are destroyed forever.
and you'll never be back.
And you'll never be back.
Thank you, our God.
Thank you, our God.
Let it happen.
Let it happen.
Cause it to happen.
Cause it to happen.
Once again, thank you for watching CCN Midday News. Hope you enjoy. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification button so you will never miss another news update. Have a great day. Peace.